Hello, my name is Mr. Dowling, and today we are talking about English B, Paper 2, Listening. This video is going to be a little bit meta because not only will I give you some top tips about the English B listening exam, I will also be offering some listening style questions in the video description below. So what you might want to do is close your computer screen or change your tab or something and just listen to what I am telling you, and then pause the video at the end, answer the questions and go back and listen to it again, just like the exam. That would be great if you could do that, because obviously you'll practice your listening skills and also you won't see my ugly face. Obviously it is up to you what you want to do. I am going to commence and I am going to give you my top tips. So, top tip number 1. Don't be scared. I think a lot of people are scared about the listening component for the English B examination. Maybe it's not people's most favourite. Maybe it might be a little bit intimidating. But that doesn't mean that it is the hardest component of the IB examination series. I think maybe people struggle with listening just because there is a lack of IB resources related to the listening exam. So don't worry too much. I do think that over time there will be more IB resources available, and I actually think that you'll be pleasantly surprised by the exam itself. I think you might find it easier than some of the preparation work that you have done beforehand. What's more, when you are in the examination hall working under exam conditions, who knows, you might actually perform better because the exam conditions in the exam hall mean that you have less distractions and you'll have to focus more on what you are listening to. So I think you've got nothing to worry about in terms of this listening exam. Number 2, practice makes perfect. I have already said that there is a lack of IB resources related to listening at this point in time, the time that I am making this video. But there are resources available that you can make use of. I'm sure your teachers have given you some resources. I'm sure that you have conducted some listening practice in class. There are some IB exams available, so make use of all of those materials. In addition, you could maybe seek out exams from other exam programs like IGCSE, TOEFL, IELTS, and yeah, you might be able to find listening exams that are not the same as the IB exam but somewhat similar. At the end of the day, we just want to keep practicing our listening, and there's no harm in trying something from one of those other examination programs. Number 3, find alternative ways to practice. It doesn't need to be just exams. You could make use of entertainment, media, and find enjoyable ways to practice your English listening. Think about things like podcasts, films, music, TV shows. All of those aspects of media, all those different types of media can be used to help you develop your listening skills. So find a podcast you are interested in, listen to it in English, and your English listening ability will only get better. Also, speak to people in English, have conversations, that can be helpful too. Number 4, use your time wisely. You'll be given time at the beginning of the exam to check the questions, and please make sure that you do so. If you circle, underline, highlight the key words in those questions, I think you should be able to preempt, guess, anticipate what some of the answers might be. You will be able to listen out for certain things that will put you in the direction of those answers. So please do that. Number 5, listen for general understanding. Especially the first time that you listen to the audio, just take the pressure off yourself. As long as you can understand most of what is going on, you'll be able to answer a few questions. If you understand the gist of the audio, you'll at least be able to make a start answering the questions. You might not be able to answer all of the questions. You'll need to do other things to obtain those answers. But if you just listen for understanding, take it all in, what is happening, what are they talking about, what points are being made, you're not starting off in a bad way. So yeah, if you listen to it the first time, half the questions have not been answered, but you've answered some of them, great. Number 6, use context to help you. By context, I'm talking about the background details, other things going on in the audio. For instance, who is speaking? Is it a man? Is it a woman? Can you maybe tell by their voices? Just knowing who is saying what can help you identify some of the correct answers, especially for those questions where it is who said the following. Think about where the conversation is taking place. Think about when the conversation is taking place. Background noises can actually help you work out all of this contextual information. And sometimes that contextual information might just give you a big clue for what the answer might be. I remember going to an IB English B workshop a few years ago, and the workshop leader made us all listen to an advertisement that was actually in Afrikaans. Now, no one could speak Afrikaans, no one could understand Afrikaans, but just by listening to the background noises, listening to the voices of the characters, we were able to work out some meaning, which is great. Number 7, use your time wisely. Again, after the first listen, please ask yourself, please reflect on what you do know and what you don't know. So which questions have you answered? Which questions have you answered successfully? Which questions are you confident about? And which ones are you not confident about? Which ones do you need to work on the next time you listen to the audio? So during that gap, please use the time to reflect on what you need to do next. That's why that time is there for you. Okay, number 8. Listen selectively for the remaining answers. Maybe in reading, you are used to things like skimming and scanning. Skimming is when you read something quickly. Scanning is when you read carefully, looking for a particular word. I think listening attentively is a little bit like scanning, because what you might have is 2 or 3 questions that you don't have the answer to, but you know some of the key words you should be listening out for. So you listen carefully for those words. you hear those words, and from what you hear, you're able to work out the answer. So try and develop your skills when it comes to listening attentively, listening selectively. Number 9, penultimate tip, second to last tip, pay attention to the chronology. By chronology, I'm talking about the logical order, the logical progression of the audio, but also the questions. When I look at the IB listening exam, I tend to see that the questions follow the order of the audio. So what do I mean by that? Basically, question number 1 is probably going to be about something at the start of the audio. Question number 5 out of 10 might be somewhere in the middle, and question 10 out of 10 might be about something towards the end of the audio. So that's what I can see, that's what I can hear when I'm looking at these IB exam materials. Let's see if that is true in the examination, and if it is, use that knowledge to help you discover the answers. So yeah, chronology can be important. Also, you know those horrible questions where you have 10 statements and you need to work out which ones are true, which ones are false? Normally you select the 5 true statements. They normally have some kind of chronological order as well. So that's another little bonus tip for you. Okay, and final tip number 10, use your time wisely once more. At the very end of the exam, you're going to have quite a bit of time remaining. That time is not for you to put your feet up and start meditating, relaxing, winding down, etc. It's not for that. That time is for you to check your answers, and it is important that you do so. Checking your answers, it's not going to necessarily get you top marks. You're not going to be able to get every single answer correct just because you checked your answers. But what it will allow you to do is to eliminate basic mistakes, because in the rush of the moment, we might make silly mistakes. We might answer the wrong question. We might put our answers in the wrong box. We might have wanted to make a correction, but we forgot to do it. By checking our answers at the end, we have the opportunity to make sure those mistakes aren't present when we hand the examination paper in. Okay, that's it. So I hope something is useful in this video. I hope that it helps you as you prepare for your listening exam. As I said, please don't worry too much about it. I'm sure you'll be fine. Thank you for watching or listening if you're answering the questions. Don't forget about those questions, they are below. Thank you and good luck. Take care. Goodbye.